Hey everybody, I wanted to make a video. I'm not normally like a camera in the face video blog kind of person, but I felt like I had a story just long enough to explain and a quick apology to say that was just long enough it constituted doing a video because I didn't want to be that guy who posted the 7 paragraph Facebook post. So to explain real quick what happened on this last Simeon tour. Just got back, obviously. I'm haggard. We just got back yesterday. I'm still kind of in recovery mode. Without explaining the entire route of the tour. Okay, so first things first. Explaining what happened. We got stranded in Romania for like 5 days. Without explaining the entire route of how the tour was working from beginning to end, we the last part of the leg, we were coming up from Croatia, and we were going to go up, play in Budapest in Hungary, then swoop around through Romania, playing Cluj-Napoca, which is kind of like in the middle, come through Timisoara, and then have 2 nights in Serbia before we came back to Bavaria in the south of Germany. Now, what happened was, as we were coming from Budapest, we were only like a half an hour out from Cluj-Napoca in Romania. This is like give or take 6, 7, 8 hour drive, and we're a half an hour out from Cluj-Napoca. Okay, and to explain, if you haven't drove from Hungary to Romania before, it's a whole lot of countryside in small villages. Basically, it's not the place to break down, and luckily it didn't come at any other point during the 6, 7 hour drive, but right at the end. We were like a half an hour out from Cluj-Napoca, and all of a sudden we hear this thump, 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 and the tour van dies. Joe was driving at the time. He coasted over to the side of the road, and we couldn't figure out what was happening. And we're in this little village, and like the only things around us are like the natives of the village selling like baskets and hats and magnets and stuff. And we're like, okay, what do we do? We're trying to be as non-discreet as possible and like pop the hood and figure out what was wrong. Couldn't figure out what was wrong right off top. A police officer stopped, and luckily he spoke English, and he took a look and he was like, okay, I think I might know what it is. I'm gonna call a mechanic. Cause we tried asking someone like right across the street if there was a mechanic around. They were like, no, there's no mechanic in this village. So the police officer called a mechanic, and he came and looked at it, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna have to tow it, but it's gonna take like a half an hour to tow it to the next big city. And we're like, okay, where's the next big city? And he's like, it's Cluj-Napoca. And we're like, oh, perfect, that's where we're going. Like, can you drop us off at the venue and let us unload before you take it? And he did, which worked out seemingly well. We were like a few hours late to the show for what should have been like load-in setup time. We got there. They dropped us off at the venue. There was a group of like, I think like 8 of our German friends that actually flew out for the Romania show. And so we were greeted by friends. They all laughed and applauded and took pictures while the tow truck rolled us up untriumphantly to the venue. We loaded out. We played the show. Mind you, this was the Caravan of Light tour that we just got off of with Zippo from Pescara in Italy. We did the whole tour together. So we got there. Those guys had already set up. We did the show, and the whole time our manager, Bernie, was corresponding with the owner of this club in Romania called the Flying Circus, because she was staying in contact with the mechanic. And the idea was obviously to get it fixed as soon as possible. This was March 21st. And the next day was Sunday, so there was no chance for it to get fixed in time for us to leave the next day and play in Timisoara, which was the next gig in Romania, back in the direction west of where we needed to go. So we had to cancel that night in Timisoara. So we had this like floating day for March 22nd, and we were staying in contact with the owner of Flying Circus, or one of the owners of Flying Circus, and just waiting to hear, what was going to happen with the van. Then another day went by, and they're like, okay, he's going to look at it on Monday, the 23rd. And we were hoping that he could work it out and fix it on Monday early enough that we could get to the Serbian show. The first one was in Novi Sad at CK13 on Monday. And it didn't work. He couldn't fix it in time, couldn't figure out what the problem was. So we had to cancel that show in CK13 in Serbia. And we're like, okay, maybe he'll figure it out on Tuesday. Tuesday we were booked at Subotica in Serbia, which would be, the last gig before then we would drive home from there. Couldn't fix it in time. So at that point we had to cancel those 3 shows. We weren't able to be there. And the whole time we're just sitting. We had to like book the hotel longer. We had to accommodate our whole group that was there. Zippo continued on. They finished the rest of the shows. They played in Timisoara in the 2 nights in Serbia. They had a gig in Italy when they're on en route back home for them. But then we were still in Cluj. We were still waiting to see what happened with the van. They couldn't figure out. I think, okay, so then at that point, then they figured out, then on that Wednesday, they figured out what was wrong with the van. A ventilator broke and fell into the cylinder in the engine and just like fried the engine. Basically, they had to replace the cylinder and the one ventilator that broke and fell into it. And so so then we stayed for the whole day then that he fixed it, until Thursday. Then we picked the van up Thursday, which is now the 26th. So we were in Cluj, broke down on the 21st on our way in, and stayed in the city until the 26th. And super big thank you and shout out to everyone at the Flying Circus, because they helped organize everything. I mean, obviously we don't speak Romanian or anything like that, and they between them and our manager Bernie, they organized everything so that the van could get fixed and we could drive home, because we didn't know if we were going to have to fly back. Our van was full of gear, we had everything, all of our sleeping stuff, all of our instruments, everything that we needed for the tour, and we obviously couldn't fly back with all that. We thought we were going to have to like load the van, have the van towed back to Germany while we fly back, and have this just uncertain van full of all of our gear and possessions that we were just going to have to hope got towed back. But no, it worked out. The mechanic fixed it. We got it at 6 in the evening on the 26th and had a gig on the next day, the 27th, in Berghausen in Bavaria, which was like between a 12 and like a 14-hour drive. So we left. By the time we loaded up, we got everything out of the venue, checked out of the hotel, loaded the van up, got it back, picked it up from the mechanic, loaded up. We drove from like 7 at night on the 26th and arrived at like 9 in the morning in Berghausen. We got like basically like a little pension, like a little hostel right by the place, crashed for a few hours, and we played the show in Berghausen. So just to explain, I thought it would be easier to just say it one time. That's what happened. We had like an accidental vacation in Cluj-Napoca instead of getting to play the shows that obviously we really, really wanted to play, but couldn't. And so I wanted to thank everybody who helped and who came, for the people who came to the show in Cluj that we did get to play. And thank you to everyone who helped us and, let us store our stuff in the venue. And we had a lot of people checking on us, making sure we were fine. And I wanted to apologize to the people who came out to Timisoara and to the people who came out to Serbia, because obviously we didn't get to play there, but we're going to make it back to that neck of the woods like as soon as possible. Which brings me to the second part of what I wanted to address. That Serbia. I'm so sorry. For those who don't know, we were supposed to go to Serbia in February, just last month. It worked out, again, not to explain this whole tour route for what was supposed to happen in February, but it was supposed to end that we played in Budapest and that we were going to swoop south and play in Serbia at the same place, CK13 in Novi Sad, which is a super cool club. It's the only place we played in Serbia before. Crazy cool club, great response from people, really killer crowd, and we were really excited to go back. But what happened was, when the show we were supposed to do before in Budapest, the organizer heard that we were going to be playing this show that we just did in March in Budapest, and he's like, I don't want to have you guys play my gig, the one we just did in March, after you just played a month before, which didn't totally make sense to us, but like out of respect, you know, we wanted to, you know, make the show happen. And so by default, we couldn't play the shows before and then not have the show in Budapest in February and just be floating and have to accommodate everybody, get a hotel or something, which is just money out of pocket, and then go down and play one show in Serbia and then drive all the way back, because it's like 8 hours from Serbia to our band house in Germany. So unfortunately, Serbia had to be canceled. And now this time on this tour, all this just happened with the van breaking down in Cluj. And so while waiting for the van to get fixed at the mechanic, we didn't get to play these shows in Serbia now again. One at the same venue at CK13, and what should have been the second one at the Clash Club in Subotica. And so the people were super understanding. The organizers were super understanding, and they're like, hey, shit happens. Like, you know, your car breaks down. You can't do anything about that. And they were super cool and wished us nothing but luck with getting the vehicle fixed and that we could get home. And we apologized to everybody that was ready to come out in February and that was ready to come out and see us just on this last run, because once again, Serbia got like the bad end of that. We weren't able to come, and that really that's bad for us too, because we were really looking forward to it. We had a really great impression the first time we played in Serbia, and we were really stoked to come back this time, last time and this time, and neither time did it work out. So thank you for everyone who was ready to come out, and we hope that you guys still went and supported Zippo, because I'm sure that was a really cool show. Thank you to the owners of the Clash Club and CK13 for putting us on and offering us the opportunity to play there, and we hope that we can make it back again soon. And we hope that any friends and fans that we have there continue to support the venues, because it was by no means their fault that we weren't there. It was just a bad twist of fate that we ended up not being able to come. But we're gonna make it up to you. We're gonna come back and play until our fingers and our eyes and our faces bleed, because you guys have waited as long as we have for this to happen. So we're gonna do everything in our power to make it to Serbia again soon. Hopefully a Clash Club in Subotica and CK13 in Novi Sad if possible. And in the meantime, thank you for everybody who helped us, and we hope to make it out to that neck of the woods again soon. And yeah.